Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today we are back with another wrestling belt related video, though this is going to be something a little bit different. So I have basically had it with WWE Shop, at least when it comes to the replicas. Their t-shirts and other stuff like that, it's not usually too bad as far as like price stuff's gone, but their replica belt prices have gone absolutely like through the roof insane. And their selection has gotten terrible. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but like normally I don't like to bother like complaining about stuff like this. But maybe a conversation can start, and maybe it can find its way to Fanatics, and they might, actually start doing what I think people want them to do for their WWE stuff, and that's to focus on the WWE stuff. So before Fanatics like really took over, the WWE Shop replica belts had like quite a few. Like it basically had all the eras that you would want for like replica belt collecting, and they had a pretty decent assortment. You could get classic Intercontinentals. They had the classic tag. They had winged eagles. They had like the big eagle belt with the scratch logo. They had the oval Intercontinental, which would capture both Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. They had the Undisputed Championship. They had the big gold. They had all the current belts at the time. They had like the 2013 Scratch logo championship. They had the Network logo. They had the Universals. Basically anything that you'd want. They had like the Ruthless Aggression tags. There was some great stuff going on there. And Fanatics did release some highly improved versions of some of those belts. Like their Big Eagle belts are amazing. Their Winged Eagle belts are fantastic. Like I have 3 Winged Eagle replicas in my collection. Before it was one of my least favorite like world title designs. Now I have 3 of them. Right? So like they have done some good things, but then they started putting out the Sports League replica belts. And, they did it for the NFL, and they did it for the NBA, and then they did it for the NHL and Major League Baseball. And it was NFL and then Major League Baseball, then NBA and NHL. And they started to get lazier and lazier with each of those releases, because the NFL ones, they were some pretty unique designs, or pretty interesting designs. I think they had like a few different templates that they used. Major League Baseball definitely had some different looks to them, some of their belts. NBA had 2 different styles, and then the NHL belts all had the one format that they followed. And the only difference was the color of the strap, the color of the paint schemes on the plates, because, they would match the team color type of thing. So, and then they began shifting their focus from just replica belts to autographed replica belts, where the autograph adds an absurd amount to the replica prices. So when I first started getting into collecting, I started collecting replica belts in 2020. And the Canadian price that I would pay, and I would buy my belts on sale, right? But I'd be getting my belts for around $500. So their sales would take them down into about the $300 range, like the high 300s or the low $400 range, which was fine, right? I had no problem with that. Now, the commemorative belts that they have, so these are the ones with the plastic plates that are meant to be like the budget, belts that you buy for like your kids or whatever. They are $500 Canadian for simulated leather and plastic plates. They're metal replicas. So they're like, recently there was the 316 day, and this is going to tie into what I have here. And they were going to be releasing some new Smoking Skull belts. And I was really excited for that, because number one, I was hoping that the new Smoking Skulls would be like a version 2 plate. Because there's some issues with the version 1 that, it's still a really nice belt, but I was hoping that'd be like a version 2. And I was waiting for it, and I was determined that I was going to buy one of these belts. They were silver-plated or nickel-plated replicas or Signature Series belts, but they had all the side plates, which most Signature Series belts don't. And that's another thing we'll talk about in a second here. But, as soon as they became available, there was the Blood from a Stone one that I absolutely loved. I immediately just clicked on it, add to cart, and I went all the way through the checkout process. And with customs fees, which I wish there was an option to not pay them through WWE Shop, because I would be saving a ton of money. Because like their duties and import fees or whatever that they were charging for them adds like $160 to the price of the belt. Their taxes adds another 100 something. Anyway, the Blood from a Stone Signature Series Stone Cold Steve Austin belt, with import fees and everything, for me as a Canadian, was going to cost me $1,200. So I just got to that checkout point and I looked at that amount and it's like, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Years ago, they shifted to the Canadian site, so www.shop.ca for Canadians. You can still order stuff through the American site, but the replica belts, they won't ship from the US site to Canada. And I was like, okay, well, that would be great if that means that they have a Canadian fulfillment center, or they'll be getting a Canadian fulfillment center. Because if they had a Canadian fulfillment center, those import fees that add like almost $200 to the price aren't going to be there anymore. And it would make these belts, cheaper and more affordable, especially when they go on sale. But that's not the case. They still ship out of the US. They're still coming out of the same warehouse that they would had I ordered from shop.com versus shop.ca, but some of the times the shop.com have better prices. So anyway, but they had the Triple H Signature Series belts for his 30th anniversary, and like their Big Eagle belt only has the outer or the inner side plates. It's missing the outer side plates and it's missing the property plate. So you're only getting 3 of the 5, 6 if you want to include the property plate that you should be getting with a Big Eagle belt. And that replica, that Signature Series belt, is $1,200 before taxes and fees. The Stephanie McMahon Legacy Series belt, which actually does look pretty nice, would almost make a great updated $1 million championship. But that is like $1,000. So I just can't do it anymore, right? I just can't do it anymore. Their sales are few and far between now. And even when they do have good sales, like there was a 30% off sale, the belts are still going to be around $800 for me. And I just can't justify that anymore. So I've started looking at overseas belt makers. And I've got 2 belts from overseas makers that I currently have in my collection. I've got a third one that's on its way. And all 3 of those belts combined were still less than if I had bought that Stone Cold Smoking Skull Signature Series belt. So there you go. I've just decided I'm just going to go with overseas makers from now on. And today we're going to take a look at, because like the Smoking Skull one is the one that I was kind of interested in, we're going to be taking a look at a Fight Night Belts Smoking Skull Championship belt. And I do have the original, so we will be comparing it to that as well. But here is the Fight Night Smoking Skull belt. And we'll take a look at it in a little bit more detail here in a moment. But we'll just start, we'll go end to end here. So this is genuine leather, this is real leather, and it is actually, pretty floppy. Like if I pick it up, it does like hang down pretty well. The backing is like the simulated snake skin, and it does actually have the snaps covered here. And the bolts are also covered for the plates. But yeah, let's just go ahead and we've got the snaps here. The tooling isn't quite as deep as my other like overseas maker belt is, but it still has at least some tooling. It's not the accurate tooling for the Smoking Skull belt, but compared to the WWE Shop one that we'll take a look at here in a moment, I prefer slightly inaccurate tooling to no tooling, which is what the belt, the official replica belt has. And then we'll go over to the other end there. And again, like I said, this leather does fold quite nicely. It's not, like I said, it's not the softest or floppiest leather in the world, but it is actual leather. And again, this belt was only about $300, so Canadian. So I'm not going to complain here. We do have the outer side plate with the WWF attitude, and yes, this does have the WWF logo, and no, that's not a deal, like I don't care about that as much as other people do. It's nice if you have it, but it was never a deal breaker for me, so, like, it's cool that it's there. We got the WWF attitude, then we got the inner side plates here, with the rattlesnake wrapped around the smoking skull, and it is the proper artwork here, because you do have the snake's head on one side and the rattle on the other. Earlier versions of a lot of the overseas belts had two snake heads on, like, so this would have been a snake head as opposed to the just the rattlesnake's rattle. So it's nice that that artwork has been updated there. And then on the other here, the other side, we do have the same plates, but we do have the logo plate here. And this is actually really cool because this is missing from the replica belt. And it actually does say Champ 1998 JMAR with the WWF logo there. So the spinner belt was not the first title belt in WWE or WWF to have the word Champ on the belt. It was the first to have it on the main plate, but the Smoking Skull belt also just had the word Champ on the logo plate there, which is kind of cool. And then we got the center plate. So the center plate does have a curve to it. It does, you know, it's a subtle curve. Like, it's not like a deep or exaggerated curve, but it is curved, and that's all that I care about. All right, I can get my fingers underneath there. It looks nice, and the artwork on this is absolutely insane. The etching on this is absolutely insane. So this is 4mm zinc, and the etching, like, you can just see how deep, like, the etching and everything is on this belt. Like, look in the WWF logo there, it goes like really deep into the plate. The artwork on this is absolutely fantastic. You have like the broken glass pattern there, which is done correctly on this belt, because you should have like this, there should be like black lines on either side of like the shatter mark or whatever you want to call it there. You do have the skull, and again, like, this is so deep, like the etching is so deep that my pinky goes like halfway into the eye socket there. Like, it's just incredible how deep the etching is on this one. We do have the world, again, the WWF logo there, and the snakes are not painted in, but you can see that their detail catches the light really nicely there. And that's the way that the real belt was. The snakes were not painted. There was no paint on the rattlesnakes on either side of the Smoking Skull. Then we have our heavyweight champion banner, and again, like, super deep etching there. And then you do have the JMAR 98 and M bulk for the artwork here on the belt itself. So this, basically, the plates are, I think, almost exactly the way that the Smoking Skull plates were back in the day. So I think they got the artwork pretty much like nailed. It's really nice to see. The only slight complaint that I really have is that they just painted in the background of the inner side plates. But also, you know, there's a lot of small areas there that would get filled in and some wouldn't get filled in. So it's not, again, a deal breaker. I can take a little bit of like paint thinner, or maybe it's just some like isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip and just kind of like, you know, maybe make a little bit of, remove some of the paint in the center of some of these if I really want to. But truthfully, I don't care that much. I kind of like the look of it. It reminds me of one of the versions of the, I think it was the WWE ECW Championship, where they had like everything painted in except for the lines for like the cage fence there. But yeah, this thing looks absolutely amazing. It's really heavy because these plates are solid. Like I said, we do have tooling. We do have a curve on there, which is nice. Subtle, but again, there are some belt makers that I've seen, like, I think it's ORM is notorious for this. And so their Smoking Skull belt is like, and their Big Eagle belts, they're curved to the point where they're arched. Like, it's an arc. It's no longer it's no longer a curve, right? Because like the center plate would go from looking this wide to like that wide, because it's just curved so much, like to an obscene degree. And I would rather have a belt that's undercurved than overcurved, because again, like this, again, I can still get my fingers under there. You know, it's nice, it's subtle, but it's there. You can see it in the way that the light kind of, plays on the different parts there. And again, I love the way that the snakes pick up the light, without the paint on there. And and it does have the proper logo. And by proper logo, I don't mean the WWF logo, but it doesn't have the swoosh, right? Like the Smoking Skull belt did not have the swoosh on any of the logos on the skull itself. It only had them on the Attitude plate that we see right here. So again, really, really nice belt. I like the leather. I was kind of not happy with at first. I felt it was maybe a little bit too stiff, but it's been breaking in quite well. And again, on the back here, it's just all obviously like the simulated snakeskin backing here, but it's really, really nice. And the plates, again, like the artwork on the plates are just absolutely incredible. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to move this up a bit. And I want to compare it to the official WWE Shop replica belt. So this is one that's still currently available. To buy this off of their website right now, without tax or customs or anything like that, would set you back over $700. So the pricing on their belts has gone just absolutely bonkers. But here is the replica version. And again, like I love this belt. Like this has a place in my collection. I am looking to sell this though. I talked to a buddy of mine. Made a couple offers to some friends. If he's interested in it, it's his. If not, then I'll probably end up just keeping it. But yeah, so we got like the Smoking Skull. I've had this for quite a while actually. I think I bought this in like 2021. So I've had this for 5 years or so now. And again, the artwork here isn't terrible on some of the things, but the thing that they really mess up is the broken glass pattern on all of the belts, all of the plates, every single one of them. Because if you look inside of the smoke and on the inside, of like between where the smoke and the skull itself are, this is all correct, right? You got the two lines, the two black lines that form like the broken glass pattern, right? You can see that. That's only found in that area between the smoke and the skull. The original Figures Inc. 2mm version had the right artwork, right? So this style for the broken glass was all throughout all the plates. But when they updated it, they just changed the broken glass into a single line for everywhere except here for some reason. So this one area also has the two lines, like the two black lines, to make like the glass pattern, but everywhere else is just a single thick black line. So we have on the side plates here. Also, what's interesting about the side plates is you can see where the original WWF logo was. Because if you take a look here, you can see scratch logo pattern here. And you can see where it came down to this spot right here. Right, so the W, and there is the portion of the F. So technically, this side plate still has the WWF logo, it's just hidden. Right, so there's like the F comes out on the top there. Again, you kind of see like the scratchy part, and then there's the bottom part of the where the F sticks out, and you can see where the W's would have come up there. So they did a kind of a poor job of masking it on this one here. On this side plate, they didn't actually bother recentering the WWE logo. So they just kind of cut off where the F portion would have been. So it has the WW kind of spushed over to the side there. Also, the details are not quite as pronounced on any of the things, actually, like the skull, the snakes, the snake tail there. They're not quite as pronounced. And then, of course, we don't have the property plate, the logo plate there. And there's no tooling on this either, right? There's no simulated tooling on the strap whatsoever. We do still have the simulated snakeskin, which is nice. And then we've got, like, the World, which looks all right. The Heavyweight Champion font, which looks all right. The banner looks pretty good. You are missing, of course, the credits there, but they don't need to be on the replicas because WWE, with the Jamar era forward, they own the designs of every belt except for like that classic Intercontinental when it came back. And that's like the reason they went to JMR in the first place, is because they wanted to own the belts that they, like the designs of the belts that they were using on TV. And Reggie Parks was not going to sell the Winged Eagle or the Classic Intercontinental to WWF, so they ended up making their own. Designs. So they had JMR make them, but they were ultimately the owner. So the Big Eagle belt, the Oval IC, the Ruthless Aggression Era tag titles, those are all designs that WWE owns. The European title, they own. The light heavyweight title design, they own. So yeah, and we do have, of course, the WWE logo, but it has the swoosh on the skull there. Again, it's a little bit small, because again, like the WWF logo on the real belt was a lot wider. Here, let's do it this way if we can. Right, so the logo was a lot wider on the skull. It's a bit more centered here on this version of it, but you know, either way, you can kind of see like the difference in the artwork detailing on the real belt. Because again, like this is technically a bootleg, but like I think they made this with like the proper artwork, like 100%, because it just looks absolutely amazing there. And of course, you also have. Let me just set that down for a moment. And you do, whoops, bumping the camera. And you do have the fact that the snakes are painted in. The light still picks up some of the stuff a little bit on them. Like you can still pick up some of the details on the snakes, but the snake artwork is painted in on the official replica as well. So there you go. So that is my Smoking Skull from Fight Night Belts, comparing it to the WWE shop version. And, you know, again, this was a little over $300 with like taxes. Oh, I don't think it was really taxes involved. But like with, I had to pay a little bit for shipping. And this is like the HD plates as well. So, you know, $300 something. It was about half the price of what I would pay to buy this one here, brand new today. Although this one cost probably about $400, maybe $450 at the time that I bought it like 5 years ago. But yeah, so like I said, I think when it comes to WWE shop, unless they start reducing their prices to be a lot more reasonable, and unless they can get a Canadian fulfillment center, so I'm not paying an extra $200 in customs fees, which again, I did pay customs fees on this belt, right? So like the fees that WWE shop charges ahead of time, that's like $160, with this belt cost me $30. So I would, you know, again, even just the option to remove the customs and import fees from being paid ahead of time, and then just pay it, you know, when it goes through the customs process, would make a huge difference as well. But yeah, I mean, like for half the price of the official replica, I have one of like my favorite belts in my collection now. I just absolutely love this thing. And I'm a guy who handles my belts. You know, I'm not somebody who just puts them on a shelf and never does anything with them again. Like if I'm watching wrestling, I've got a belt with me. It's just, you know, part of, I guess, how nerdy I am. But anyway, that is my look at the Fight Night Belts Smoking Skull replica belt. And yeah, I absolutely love this thing. I do have an Oval IC, block logo Oval IC from Royal Belt that I'll be doing a video on soon. It is currently just shipped out yesterday, so I don't know how long it's going to take to get here. But I do have a block logo European Championship on a green strap with red backing coming my way. And that's from F Club VK. And I want to order something from Great Custom Belts. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to order from them yet. I'm kind of leaning towards the WCW Television Championship. But we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. You know, were you a fan of the Smoking Skull belt back in the day? Did you ever own one like the replica, the 2mm one from Figures Inc., or the current one from WWE Shop? Do you have an overseas, you know, bootleg version of it, the way that I do, I guess, now in my collection? Let me know that in the comments below. Anyway, thank you all so very much for your time. I appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.